welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American closed qualifiers for ESL One Cologne in North America. We have one, and as far as I'm aware, one slot only up for grabs here in the North American region, and the bracket continues. Now in the semifinals, we're getting ready to start our first one, and it's going to be between CLG and the Renegades. Jumping right into it, of course, I'm joined by Bach. Bach, why don't you just take it away?
All right, so we'll be the CT side of CLG versus the T side of Renegades, and Cutler charging his way towards the balcony position. It's a three-man hold right now on this A bomb site, where it looks like they're going to get pressured in just a moment. As we can see, a bulk of the bodies building up for Renegades just outside A ramp. JKS is the lone attacker coming in from the palace. Cutler is on balcony to take care of that player. Flashbangs in, but Cutler's slightly blinded and caught off guard as well, as the bodies are piling up from that A ramp push. He was just overwhelmed on the site, as is his teammates. Ethan goes down. FNS has at least come up with a few kills from CT Slope, and he's still here, swinging away with that USP, but his teammates now coming in for the retake. It's going to be Kusta and Ricky versus Azza and JKS. And now Ricky has a chance for revenge against his former teammates, as it is going to be CLG picking up the round.
Azar takes that aggressive second duel out from the ticket booth, and that seems to be what seals the deal there, as it does give himself away to the steps player, allowing for Kusta to shut things down and pick up the final kill against JKS as well. So it's CLG that will control the situation, starting themselves off on the pistol. Excuse me, they will go up 1-0. Renegades do find a plant, though, so you can expect a relatively light buy here in the second round as they save up for round number 3, where we'll probably see the first real investment from them.
Yeah, full save coming in here. Just pistols purchased by Renegades to try and give them a little bit of firepower to potentially get a bomb down. It looks like early on they're going to split their forces, though, sending one into B apartments, one top mid, 3 towards A, but they're going to siphon one off of A very quickly. Nifty going to join the players back with the bomb over in the B apartments area. Solid setup right now for CLG to force this one to an easy end, as it's going to be umps for everyone but Kusta. And they know just how much money they can make, realizing that Renegades is likely to be saving up here. Good damage dealt by Azza from underpass there as they caught Kusta looking the other direction. That would have been an expensive drop early on in the round, as it is the sole rifle in Kusta's hands responsible for watching mid window. Ricky, though, realizes his former teammate is in underpass now, so he's just going to hold, see if they try to boost up into the window. Not going to happen. It's a lone play right there in that position. FNS moving back towards Van. He saw a leg as he glimpsed up into that area. He's going to drop a molly into Nifty's path. It's going to delay things for a bit here, but I imagine Renegades is going to keep going. That nade's going to hurt things, so, oh, man. Yeah, JKS actually took a small amount of fire damage just to try and get away, but he couldn't escape the explosion radius. So it's Azza and Ustillo, the last 2 left standing. Azza at least has a flank play coming in through the murder hole, but he's been spotted at this point, and now he's the last one alive.
Well, FNS finding that kill there does pretty much secure the round for AZR, or Azar, excuse me. He is just going to be... Yeah.
There's no R, it's Azza.
I say Azar. There is an R. There is an R. There very clearly is an R. That's the difference here, is that we do not have Australian accents, therefore trying to pronounce it with an Australian accent is a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. That's why I've never really gone for the Azza thing.
You're so ignorant.
Just saying, man. It's like trying to say Kirby's name with a Danish inflection. Just isn't humanly possible for someone who doesn't actually speak fluent Danish. Because no matter how many times you attempt it, it's just not going to be correct, apparently.
Yeah. Even if you think you're right, you're probably wrong.
Yeah. I literally sat down with a friend of mine who's Danish for like 40 minutes trying to properly pronounce that name, and I'm pretty sure I got it right like 1 time out of 200.
Well, the third round bye here from Renegades might leave us a little bit stumped, as much as the pronunciation of Kirby's name. They lose a body early on in the round. It's Nexa who dropped, with no trade opportunity there for the mixed sort of Australian team. Nifty, as a JKS and Ustillo are still in the field of play. Kusta's taken pretty significant damage. He, again, is trying to tail away from the play. Meanwhile, though, Cutler has found one. Kusta has to move yet again as a molly lands right beneath his feet, and before the flames can start kicking away at him, he hightails it into that A site, but just like that, the kills are piling up for CLG. It's Nifty and Ustillo, and now just Nifty, all alone, trapped in mid, ump in hand. It should be around for CLG.
Yeah, Nifty just kind of sitting back and again trying to hunt down as many kills as possible. But that may not be too many. I think he heard the guy in ladder room, but bullets whizzing past his head. He's trying to figure out where exactly these are coming from. He does finally actually see Ricky for sure. So he knows he's out here and knows he can no longer sneak his way in through the connector to try and hunt down those kills. Note as well, of course, that he does not have the bomb, so there is there is no way he's going to be able to actually win out this round. Hunting for kills, and he finally gets the one that he was hunting so dearly for. Unfortunately, there's not a better gun waiting for him. Just has to escape, happy with picking up the kill itself. And now we'll proceed out over here towards the jungle to attempt to continue. M4 on the ground, though, so he might pick that up and just try to run away. But nope, finds another duel versus Finesse. But again, forced out of the situation, and will be able to save that rifle at the very least.
So yeah, he survives with an M4. It's not bad. The rest of the team, I mean, at this point, you're at 3 rounds loss bonus. Could spend a little bit, but a pause has been called here. Not sure if this is tech or tack. Do we know if this is tech or tack?
I would assume tech since it's this early on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, like there's no reason for a technical or a tactical pause this early on, but you never know. They could be trying new things. Looking at these two teams and the map pool in general, I give a slight edge to CLG on the first 2 maps. Renegades did pick Mirage, and it is a better map for them, but based on recent performances from CLG, I think that if Renegades is going to take this series, they have to win the first map. They have to force it to 3, because the second map is Overpass, and that is a map that Renegades historically vetoes. Like looking at the team, they vetoed 2 maps since the Dust 2 removal. It's Inferno and Overpass in almost all of their matches. In fact, they've only played it 4 times in recent history at all. So looking at Renegades right now, you gotta get something going here on Mirage, because I think in regards to Overpass, it could be a bit of a bloodbath for CLG.
Well, we are live once again here, so assumed technical pause. Like I said, that was only 3 rounds in, so not really any reason for a tactical pause that early on. But regardless, the Renegades are actually not going to be able to fully invest into this round right here. So they will save the M4 on Nifty, of course, but everybody else is just going to be on P250s. Kusta already striking with one of his own kills against Azur. And for Nifty, still trying to creep his way down and look for the trade on the Kusta, basically just trying to maximize damage with this M4, but he's already been spotted, so I imagine Kusta's going to play this relatively smart in the window. Nifty, though, with some good timing, has snuck his way into the connector and is now moving up. Should be able to see the feet of Ethan there. He's being cautious to strike at the right moment. Still does not work out, though. Kusta comes in, shuts the rifle down, and the remaining players are trying to force their way into the site, but it's just not happening. CLG shut it down without a single player getting knocked out.
I think one of the best things about this current CLG roster and their recent improvement is the revival of Kusta. Remember his time on Enemy? He was being looked at as one of the most promising up-and-coming young players, and then he went to Liquid, and all of that went away. He went from being one of the most promising players to probably one of the most hated. He was not well-liked when he was on that Liquid squad, but I like how he's turned things around here with CLG, and he's off to a great start here on the first map of this series as well, sitting at 6-1, tied with Cutler at the top of the scoreboard. Hopefully his performance can continue in that fashion. Renegades right now do appear to be setting up for a tremendous amount of mid control, with 2 players coming in from Underpass and 2 top mid as well. And the setup for CLG could either work really well or really bad, depending on how they spin this. Ethan's got his back turned to top mid after he went there initially looking for kills, but fell back. Had he stuck around a little while longer, it's an easy kill, as he would have been sandwiched between both sides of the attack. Instead, he falls back, and now the setup is actually even better for CLG, with Rick A on Catwalk and 2 players playing at the top of Connector.
Yeah, with the Renegades having mid control, this is a great start for them to be able to try and work this into a site, but that is the big key, is transitioning the momentum from mid control and actually taking it into a site. They're still going to have to deal with pressure working its way from the other direction on Cat, along with the actual front fire coming out from both Ethan and Cutler into the site, and possibly Kusta too. But Kusta might actually stick back. That's a nice flash from way back. Kusta assist. We're able to trade 2 for 1. Now 2 for 2, though, as Azur brings the kill back, eliminating Cutler. That molly should force Kusta into the open, but they missed their opportunity to find the kill elsewhere, though. Ricky punished Azur. Seemed like he got a little over-aggressive. I couldn't see it from my perspective, but it felt like he was trying to push his way out the murder hole. Next, though, lines up the trade kill, takes out Kusta. Once again, restores the numbers balance, as Ricky is trying to slowly creep his way back up. Mark into the site. Finesse waits outside of Connector for his own opportunity. Bomb on the ground close to them, but they are running out of time. Thankfully, both the remaining players still have kits to try and work with here. Now they need to move in. Ricky misses his opportunity to kill Nexa, so he'll hold on with a second kill. I think they know as well, they know now for sure, that Finesse is going to be working his way back in on the steps. He's got the first kill. Like I said before, time getting low. He can go for this defuse, but the problem is Justillo is peeked into that when it's planted for him, so he can just waste all the time in the world. The flash goes out, completely blinds Finesse, and now he's on the run. He knows he's not going to win this one. The Renegades finally going to get their first round on the board, and Finesse just barely survives the bomb explosion.
You know, I kind of look at Kusta right now, and in that situation, he's the big player. So Kusta's got a teammate coming in from CT spawn with a flashbang. Had he waited for Rick A to get in position, he could have thrown a flash up and over the trash bins and allowed him a little bit more room to work with. And it would have given them a decent opportunity as well, as they had the numbers coming into that equation. Also looking at the fight, the top connector, there was 2 players watching both sides of the connector, and I don't remember who the first one was that took the fight. He needed to come up with a little bit more action because that could have allowed Cutler to focus on the player who was backstabbing from window, because he was jiggling between both top connector and window. As soon as he dies, he realizes I have to focus on connector, and that's when the man from window peaks. So it was good awareness from Renegades, utilizing that player in window at the proper timing, not having that guy lead out too early. That gave them that sort of opportunity. Still could have been a CLG round, though, and they're able to buy up anyway here. And it's going to be the double op setup as Rick A and Kusta, both proficient oppers in their own regard, pick up the ops and put them across the map. Rick A peeking towards underpass right now. I'm not sure if he just... Yeah, he connected on that shot. Dropped Azza down to 60 HP. Should have done a little bit more damage. Kusta's waiting for him on the other side as he's watching the push coming in from underpass, but he has to fall off as he's been flashbanged out of position.
And now Azert up on top of one of his teammates, I believe, trying to look for a finesse, but he escapes once again, gets himself back onto the site that is going to open up. However, another opportunity for them to just swing right through into connector and do the same exact thing they did in the last round. Worked before, might as well try it again. They don't have that double setup outside of the connector this time either. So Azert walks in, gets himself a clean double kill. Cutler and Ethan both getting knocked out. Kusta's here at ticket, but he really can't do anything currently. Same story for finesse as they go for the safer plant behind trip stack this time. They do catch Azert on the fallback over here towards the T ramp, so keeping it alive, or at least attempting to for CLG, but Ricky's got his own problems to worry about way over here on the B bomb site. He's being hunted down by Nifty and possibly one other player, but the other player is not even going to be needed. Nifty immediately hits the shot, and now both Kusta and Finesse are falling back towards CT spawn to try and save.
Yeah, at this point, this is just an opportunity to hold on to guns as best as they possibly can. It's the right move. It's the right call. See them just sitting back here. FNS is taking damage here, but not too much. He's got you still spraying away, and he's actually going to win that fight as well. Kusta, though, is having a bit of trouble. It's a flashbang around the corner. Nexa's going to turn from it, but it doesn't matter. Nexa, knowing the position, just pre-fires the corner, and he's actually going to swap out and get the op. So that's a big swing there, but we've already got an op in play for the CT side as well. It's in Ricke's hands now. FNS has enough money to drop potentially a rifle if he wants to, or a couple of umps, and that's going to be the call. He throws out one up. I think he threw out a second as well. Bought a rifle. Cutler, it looks like Cutler's just going to be on a 5-7. It's not an absolutely horrendous buy from CLG. Could be better, but it could also work out really well. It's going to come down to Rick A, I think. You know, Rick A's got to get an early pick here to try and turn the tides and give them a little bit of a leg up in the round.
Still slower opener here from the Renegades, and this time kind of avoiding mid a bit more, as if they keep repeating that, and eventually CLG is going to find a way to just counter that right back out. However, after some delay, it is still looking like Renegades are once more going to try to go for heavy top mid control at the moment. Only one player pushing into it, however, the other three do kind of fade away from this push-up and end up pushing their way into the back B halls. They're even going to be grouped up with Azure in a second, so possible all-in play towards the B bomb site, and it would work out too, as currently only Kusta sits in there to defend it. They do have Ricky available, but he's way over on Cat watching mid, so he does have to kind of spin around real quick and try to help out. By the time he actually gets in a position to do that, because he's in ladder room, Kusta may very well end up dead. So we'll see how well Kusta's able to hold this back off. Dinks one player, but goes down. Ricky is able to respond, however, picking up actually the first frag here against Nexa, and now looking for more, restricting them into the apartments all this time. Nobody actually wants to push back out, and when they do, he legs one of them. So he's doing some great damage right now. Tries to go for a second, but this time they make it past the threshold unscathed. JKS will get up to the site, and finally Ricky goes down at the hands of Nifty.
Felt like Nifty was, or Rick A was there for an eternity, waiting for some help from his team. He did so much damage to Azza and Ustillo, putting them both below 20. But now it's just the rifles who have to close things out here. It's going to be FNS to drop the first tagged up player in Azza. They're still moving in, but they're very tentative in this take, and they're taking their sweet time as well. Losing bodies, and now it's down to just FNS. He's alone, and they know where he's coming from as well, and he's just got too many angles to clear. As much as the rifle work, or the op work from Rick A was really nice early on, it's Nifty who tips his cap there at the end with a 4K from his AWP, and that should be the breaking point here for CLG. It should be a save coming out, so Renegades have found themselves a third and likely fourth to follow before CLG can buy up and strike back.
Yeah, Nifty just giving him way too much room to work in that round. As he ends up with a 4K overall. The first kill or two that he manages to pick up, obviously under pressure, but then after that, it's just free reign for him. They just go off on members of CLG. So that is going to break them, put them down on just upgraded pistols, and well, they're not really changing up their game plan too much, except for this little bit of aggression here on Underpass. Azur finding both of those kills, though, without a single issue. Doesn't even take any damage at all. Finesse still trying to push in through the apartments as well to look for revenge against Azur, but at the moment, it's just not working out. He even gets tagged for a third of his health, falling back. So easy control for the Renegades, and you should now expect that this is going down to a 5v3, that the Renegades will indeed tie this up 4-4.
Finesse moving up catwalk with the deagle. Nice shot on the first one. Ustillo gets clotheslined by the bullet, but the two remaining players for CLG are across the map from the play, so they really don't have anything they can do about this. Just P250s here, hoping to catch a lurker, maybe find a gun. It's not going to happen, though. Once Kusta gets to the bottom of the ramp, they realize, hey, there's nobody here, and the bomb planted in just a moment will force CLG to make a decision. Do we save our P250s? Do they really hold that much value? At this point, there's not much you can do. You can just kind of hang back and hope you catch someone trying to retreat off the site. Maybe they think you found that last gun. Who knows? But it's not going to be the case as of yet, as Kusta is still moving in from T-spawn into the TV room. Wanted to catch up on some of the boob tube. Rick A in the A site finally peeks out, sees him on catwalk. They're watching the gun. There's no way they're going to be able to get to it.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said before, a very handily won round by the Renegades here. And since they started winning, they've been winning with some clean strides, with a few exceptions here, especially on this round. So managing to push through it, and like with the exception of Ustillo, everyone does escape the round alive and well, so that is going to start to build up that cash flow a little bit more here. Not an amazing amount just yet, but if this goes on for any longer, that's when things get a little bit dangerous. Another pause being called. This one I'm going to assume is tactical now, since CLG has kind of lost their way. It's been a nice little streak working its way out for the Renegades, and after we saw the first gun round won by CLG afterwards, it has been all struggles for them. So they do need to find a better strat to utilize on the CT side within those gun rounds.
They do have money here to buy, and they know the pressure behind them at this point. They can't really give too much with what's left in the rounds here. If they give up too much room to Renegades, things could spiral out of control. 4 rounds already is not like amazing, but it's a great start for Renegades. Just a few more, and they hit, kind of standard performance on the map. So I don't know if that was tactical yet, but if it was, I guess you could find some merit for it. I still think it's a little bit early. Most North American teams wait until they've lost about 6 or 7 rounds in a row before they call for a tactical. If they call for a tactical, some teams just forget they even have timeouts. Probably a technical issue, but the buy-in does come in, and it's going to be 5 rifles for CLG. No op in play for them. The op in the hands of Nifty has done decent work thus far for the Outlaws of Renegades. He's sitting at top mid, waiting for a push to come through. Rikke is in position, playing just underneath the smoke, and he's got a great angle for these two, but it doesn't matter. Nifty hits a beautiful shot. Rikke didn't even tag up Ustillo. It was actually Cutler and Kusta who did a bulk of the damage. The molly behind the boxes doesn't actually pull Nifty out of position, but he has to play on the edge, and he's taken some damage through the corner of the box. Meanwhile, though, Azza has picked off one more, and that's the A site completely in control of Renegades. If Kusta can get out of here, it's a save, as these two players are kind of disconnected from the play, and they don't have a kit. They don't really have an opportunity. They'd love to get that op and just hold on to it if possible.
I don't even think Ethan realized the first player. Ooh, that's a big mistake as well. Kusta goes back down. I'm unsure as to why exactly he went back down. There was an M4 on the ground, but considering he picked up the op, I would assume he would have wanted to stick with that for the save. Cutler, though, nice hold, picks up the 2 kills, and actually, if there was a little bit more time, he might have been able to go into the site and make an attempt at this now, but I think time's a little bit too low. It doesn't even have a kit either, so not going to make that happen, and does still have to sit back and save. Op should be on the ground a little bit further down the path there for him to be able to retrieve the op. But yeah, Kusta, a little bit weird that he goes back down there and just kind of sits there. I don't know if he was contemplating going back to the M4 or something like that, but just ends up getting pushed on by the window player, taken out. The real big thing, though, that actually sold that round to the Renegades is the fact that Ethan didn't really seem aware that the first player pushing out of Palace even got out that quickly. So he just is able to get himself behind Firebox relatively easily, and as soon as Ethan peeks, he's a dead man, and doesn't even seem ready to react to that.
Azza having a great game right now. Was it Azza at the beginning of the season that had that dud game on Cobble in their start to ESL Pro League? He had like 1 kill at half. One of the guys from this team did. I just don't remember if it was him. But if it was, what a turnaround. He's, obviously he was a strong performer for the likes of Renegades before that. But if I remember correctly, he started out early in spring with a bit of a rough patch.
Pretty much everyone in the Renegades was looking pretty bad at the beginning of like this season of play. So they had to kind of regroup after the few roster changes, and now they're looking a little bit better. Definitely still some work to do, but they're looking way better than they were at the start of the season.
I mean, looking at the roster changes, it's not like a crazy roster change. We'll talk about that in a second, though. Ethan's right around the corner with a CZ75. A nice headshot onto Azza, but an immediate response by the Serbian player who's joined forces with Renegades more recently, and he's off to a great start himself as well. It's still a man advantage here for CLG with the bomb moving its way into A, but limited firepower and resources prevents them from really being able to do much about it. Oh, Renegade gets there just as the bomb goes down, but at least it gives them a two-man advantage to try and go for this one. The problem is they only have one kit. It's on Cutler. They got to make sure that one at least gets close to the bomb in the event that the retake is successful, because they're going to need to take their time to try and flush these players out of position. And without utility, it's going to be so much harder for them to do it. Ustillo peeks wide, and there you go, just like that. 1-2. JKS and Ustillo both go down, and it will be a defuse coming in for CLG, so the split buy works out successfully. Now, looking at like Renegades, it's not like the changes they made were insane. Like, they didn't bring in these crazy players. They brought in 2 Americans at first, a Nifty and Uber, and then swapped Uber out for Nexa. Those are not like names where I'm like, wow, these guys are really good. Like, Nifty at one point in time was a really young, promising player back when he played on Astral Authority when he first transferred over from Call of Duty. But then his career kind of flatlined. And Nexa, I mean, he's a Serbian player. Serbia has a couple of decent, like, lower-level teams, but they're not known for breeding CSGO talent. But it's just worked out pretty nicely for Renegades. It seems like it's just a decent fit.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird that we saw that change go by the way of Renegades. I think everyone was kind of taken aback when we saw that one, as it sort of seemed like a downgrade at first, but then the reasons made more sense. Again, we can just continue the roster discussion in a moment. However, we're back into the battle here, and Ustillo trying to push his way back in, does swing this into the way of the Renegades. Was looking like CLG would be able to hold themselves off for a few moments there, but it goes back the other way, and now this is in a 3v3, now 3v2, back under CLG's control for right now, but that could still very well change. Azur trying to sneak his way in, does get flashed into the corner, and he does have a little presence back over here from inside the jungle. That's where FNS is going to strike, taking out Azur, leaving just Ustillo in the mix now for a 1v3. However, only has to deal with one player currently within that site, and I believe he already knows where he is. Ethan was being pretty loud before, so he may have a general idea about where he's playing from. It's no longer just a 1v1, though, as FNS has rotated over to the ticket booth, and is going to be waiting for Ustillo to push back in.
I mean, Ustillo did create the only avenue of attack here for Renegades early in the round. He ducked his way through the smoke in connector to stay below it so you wouldn't see his head over top, and killed the player who was on the other side as the other CT went through down to the bottom of mid. Spun back around and managed to get both players in that position, but they're the only kills thus far for Renegades. Oh, Ustillo gets caught pulling out a molly, but now he's got FNS stitched into a corner. Doesn't matter. FNS hits him with the drive-by as he taps away with the AK. It will be a 6th round for Renegades, or for CLG for that matter, as Renegades find themselves back down to no money, and likely either a split force or just pistols coming out.
Well, that will lead back into CLG, still holding control of the map for right now, however, as Renegades do end up back down on a pretty lax buy. So we'll see if they just try to group up. They're still trying to play into more of a default strat. They've got a decent amount of smoke, so they can spread up a little bit if they want to here. But it is looking like pretty much everyone is going to play together, except for the bomb, interestingly enough. Everybody is going to play pretty much together over here towards the T-ramp. And Ethan, oh, this is dangerous, man. Playing up this close on a save round. We'll have to see how well he fares. The smoke should be fading relatively soon, and I think they're going to time that out with their own smokes to move back in. Thankfully, Ethan's got a molly, so he gets 1-2. Finally taken down on the 3rd player, but Kusta's there covering it. So the last 2 now alive are going to have a pretty rough time getting in. Cutler a little greedy going out into the open in that kind of shooting gallery there. Leaves him dead on the ground, that only knocks off about 2/3 of JKS's HP to show for it. So it's just going to send Nifty and JKS back. I imagine I tried swinging the direction, but CLG not going to be worried about that too much just yet.
So again, it's down to a man disadvantage here for Renegades as they try and pull this bomb off and head towards B. That nade leading them their way in. The flashes not really helping them too much, as it is FNS back behind the van. FNS actually goes down early. You would have thought 2 kills, easy peasy, but JKS was in position with the Tech 9. Unfortunately for him, as the bomb goes down, so does the molly at his feet, and he just can't get away in time. So it will be an easy closeout for the remaining 2 players for CLG. Pretty decent damage dealt in the round by Renegades, all things considered, dropping 3 players. But one of the players they dropped in Ethan and FNS as well. Both had decent cash coming into that, so they're not hurting too much after the buy-up. Ethan had 9K, and FNS is on 7,400.
Still, though, three kills in that last round is a little bit more than I think anyone would have expected, considering the buy that the Renegades did bring to the table there. So that's definitely going to be way more costly than it should have been, especially since a few players may have been a little bit greedy to try and shut the round out, in a faster fashion, but just ended up costing them more and more players there. So it has brought their money down overall just a tad more. Renegades still kind of just slow playing this and splitting up, however. For the most part, this has been kind of hit or miss, so we'll have to wait and see how exactly this goes for them, as they are just kind of sitting back, waiting and playing for picks right now, not trying to make any moves or take control within these first couple of seconds.
Ricky in the B site, watching the ever-vigilant eye alone on B. Kusta's up on top of the brick boxes, trying to peek lower mid. There is one player there in Azza that might not expect a player to be up on high like this. As he's got this AK in hand, it should be a free shot for Kusta as long as he spots him first, and there it is. Just like we said, Kusta catches Azza looking the other direction, never sees it coming, blindsided by the bullet. Cutler pushed up aggressively on ramp with Ethan, but Ethan's gone down, so now it's up to Cutler to try and defend this A site, and he looks like he wants to go a little bit further out, and that's a big kill because he's dropped the bomb away from play. The remaining players for Renegades are so far away from that bomb, and there's only one of them left anyway. It's Nifty, the North American player, filling in for Renegades, joining the roster more recently, but no success for him today, as it is CLG now pushing forward with this scoreline in their favor. It looked like for a minute we were going to see Renegades really bring this one back, but now that CLG has regained control, they've also taken control of the money, and they've put Renegades back down to another pistol round. 5
rounds is still not a bad half, though. Renegades have been really good at
not at all.
Getting like mid control and then transferring it into the sites. Usually, a lot of teams sort of like at mid to mid high level at NA really struggle for whatever reason with getting out of mid Mirage and into a site with it. They just get destroyed every single time. But Renegades is actually doing really well with that right now. It's just I think coming down to a lot of these like clutch situations and the fact that they, in my opinion, don't play towards mid enough. They kind of went away from it after their first 2 rounds. They tried to play more direct takes, which were also working for quite a few rounds, but they never really went back to trying to play towards mid more. So it's been kind of unfortunate because I feel like they could have gotten more rounds if they tried to play into it a tad more. These rounds are a bit of an exception though, because again they're just on deagles, so you're not expecting them to really upset in that potential. Already 2 kills by the way of CLG.
Here come the Tech 9s, firing away in connector, but it's just one. Ustilo is out there alone. Nifty's like, oh, sorry bud, I'm still watching mid window with this deagle. So again, the 2 remaining players for Renegades disconnected a bit, and the smoke's going to go down on ramp. JKS looks like he wants to go past it. He sends a shot towards Kusta just off the mark as Kusta escapes behind the box. There's Nifty, though, getting a kill off his deagle. I have to say, when Nifty first started playing CS, that was one of the most impressive aspects of his play was his deagle work. And he shows it there as well, but it's still CLG to capitalize on the round. 9 compared to 5, as it looks like they want to try and grab that 10th one, and they're going to go with the double op setup here for Ricky and Kusta. Yet again, we see it come out. Just 1 for Renegades. It'll be Nifty holding it.
Well, into the 15th round we will go. 5v5, full-on buys for both teams here. Full utility, too. Renegades is going to be slightly lax, but it's pretty much... It's like 1 or 2 while he's missing, so it's nothing huge. Ricky, almost finds himself dead. Falls back at just the right time there. The flashbang was perfectly positioned, so nicely done by Azar there. CTs are going to have to deploy one of their mollies to try and hold this off, since Ricky can no longer sit up on top and play for intel. So right now, it just becomes a bit of a patient waiting game to see if JKS and any of those other players are going to try to move through. And JKS does indeed push through the Palace a little bit here, finding his first kill against Ethan, who tries to aggressively push into the Palace, but meets his end. So it gives early advantage to the Renegades. And now, like I said before, they're going back to that mid control. So this actually looks really good right now for the Renegades to try and close out this last round.
Going to send Azza up into the window as well to go for a bit of a split play towards this A site if possible. Still, though, working towards B a bit. So Azza is just there kind of as the lurking presence in the window. JKS still hanging around in Palace. They know he's here as he's picked up a kill early on. That would have been Ethan who got aggressive in that area. So right now the bomb's still positioned in B apps. Ricky on catwalk and FNS in the B site, responsible for trying to hold this one down. But down goes Ricky, and that puts all the pressure on FNS. Meanwhile, they've also lost a player on A. FNS peeks out wide, gets a kill on Ustilo, who's coming in from catwalk, repositions towards empty pillar, but meets his demise by way of Nifty's op. That op we've profiled more than once here. as it is Renegades getting 6 rounds on their T side. So all in all, not a bad half for Renegades, all things considered. CLG started to make it better for themselves, but in the end, we settle at a scoreline that makes sense if you watch the round trading going down early on.
Yeah, 9-6, definitely still really a great score for both teams, in all honesty. I imagine CLG probably would have wanted a few more to prevent that big streak that we saw in the middle of the half from the Renegades. But like I was saying before, when we did see the Renegades kind of slumping a bit towards the end, it was that mid control that was really crucial. And we finally saw that coming back into play on the last round. They were really good at not only getting it, mainly because CLG primarily just because CLG didn't really contest mid all that much, to be completely honest. Even towards like Connector and Cat, I think they had a player peeking out towards Window Room a few times, but they really never played towards those areas of the map. So they kind of just let the Renegades walk up and take it for a large portion of it. And then the only hotspot besides that was actually transferring it into the sites. And even there, entry power was really good, moving out through both Cat and Connector. So they were able to take sites pretty cleanly a lot of the time because of that.
I mean, CLG's success was largely associated with the fact that they broke Renegades' money. So they got a couple of eco rounds out of Renegades right in the middle. So for the most part, Renegades looked really good on their T side. Like you said, a lot of mid control for them. Didn't really seem too hotly contested by CLG. But now we're just waiting for these two teams to ready up. And the second half will begin. 9-6, yeah, it's not bad for either team. Like CLG could have been way worse with the way things were going in the middle there. I thought for sure we were going to see Renegades potentially with 9 rounds because they were looking really good compared to CLG, who was falling apart round in, round out.
Well, now we're jumping into the second half here. The Renegades still floating behind, but with a pistol round, they could find themselves right back into a tied situation. We're on live with it, so let's take a look and see how CLG will fare. Now on their own T side, and jumping right into it. Pretty usual buys for the pistol round. No one going for anything crazy here. The usual support player is going to be FNS. Everyone else picking up armor. Then Nexa is the kit along with smoke pickup. Again, it's pretty much the same story for the other 4. Everybody buying up armor. So just nice slow play. Looks like from CLG is going to be deployed here on the pistol round. Everyone holding back at this wall. 3 of them, I should say, holding back at this wall over here towards mid. And this could be great because look, Nifty's moving in. He's curious. He's trying to investigate, but he's going to find himself dead so quickly when he finally pushes past the threshold.
So his investigation ends, but at least he's got some intel. I mean, he knows what's happening right now. 3 players sitting towards top mid. The other players for the team, again, just one on A. FNS lurking alone. The rest from CLG now grouping up in apartments, working their way towards underpass stairs. They've still got Azza on catwalk, and Ustillo sends one shot out very early as he sees the leg, just fires 1 round off, repositions, and now he's going to go back. He sees them as they move towards him. Multiple bodies heading in his direction. He's got to be careful to get out of there. Azza's providing support from catwalk. Ustillo now has a crossfire with him, but they've lost Ustillo. That was Cutler who took him down. Azza now going to get 1 more kill on the Cutler. Kusta trading out for Nexa. It's a 2-on-2 as CLG try to get control of this A site. JKS is still back behind the boxes, and just like that, 1-2. Azza and JKS fall to Kusta. It will be a round for CLG as they manage to get into that A site with the pistols, and now they can try and extend that lead a bit further.
Kusta again strutting his stuff on pistols, and he leads the charge for CLG entering into the second half, currently leading the team at frags as well at 19-8. Next players behind are Finesse and Cutler, and Finesse himself has had a little bit of a resurgence as of the last season or two, as we saw CLG kind of coming back into the fold really impressively, even at Star Ladder. He's definitely become a somewhat capable fragger, as well as a new leader here for CLG. So jumping into the second round now, the Renegades do try to force into it to the best of their ability, and it includes an ump as well. Azur's going to be able to pick that up. Besides that, though, it is just your usual upgraded pistols and armor buys for pretty much the whole team.
Nifty already taking damage here with that Deagle as he tried to peek mid-window. He's putting shots down onto Cutler, but they're not connecting. No damage dealt to a single member of CLG as of yet. They're now repositioning the bomb, trying to get into that B site, and they're going to realize pretty soon, hey, there's nobody here. Nifty has rotated over to try and do something to stop this, but once the bullets start to connect, Aim Punch takes over, and it should be just a free site here. At this point, once the bomb goes down, it's a save for Renegades. There's no reason for them to go for this. Set up for exits. You're never going to get there, and that's exactly what they do. You can see across the map, 3 players pushing a ramp, and then Ustillo is just sitting in CT spawn, hoping to find an exit frag on a player who's exiting from the B bomb site through market.
Well, we can take a look now, and Azur's kind of leading the way for himself and the rest of his teammates as they do attempt to fall out and save. It looks like Ustillo is sticking around in CT spawn, though, to possibly hunt down 1 or 2 additional kills, if at all possible, but it's just not leading his way. Everyone seems to be magnetically avoiding him, unfortunately, so he more than likely will come out empty here. depending on the path he takes, but hold on a second. May have a chance at this one yet. Moves in, finds Ethan. He does lose that opportunity and also misses Ricky as he wraps back around. So focusing a little bit more on self-preservation. He does make it out of the round, but does not gain any additional kills here. So they'll just have that ump along with the remaining upgraded pistols on everyone except for Nifty.
Still have a lot of firepower here, and it's possible that CLG will get overwhelmed by these pistols if they gamble correctly this time. Stacked heavy towards A last time, with most of the players from Renegades just kind of positioned in that area. Only Nifty was playing window and kind of floating back towards B. Now they play a more traditional offense. They're actually going to, or defense for that matter, they're going to send Azza into the underpass early on. He gets the kill onto his former teammate Ricky, but doesn't really get much for it. He's got control of the B apartments area. Nice pop flash. No, it's actually a little bit too shallow. Yeah, it went a little bit further. That would have been a great one thrown at Ethan, but even still, he was behind the TV. Not sure he would have been blinded too much. So he goes down to 5 HP. Still manages to hold on for one more. Ethan finally finishes what he started, but it's a man advantage here for Renegades as they've cut CLG down to just 3 very early on in the round due to aggression by Azza with his ump.
Well, now CLG just trying to slowly kind of creep their way forward over towards B now after they've lost the man advantage. So this is going to be a little bit trickier for them, but still very directly pushing into it after some delay. And goodbye, Nifty. Thinks he's safe hiding behind the bench position. That is going to be wrong. Evening it back out and now gaining their advantage back once more with Ethan moving forward to eliminate JKS back inside of the apartments there. Just 2 remaining. Both Ustilo and Nexa will try to retake or at least hold off here from inside of the market. I think they're probably just going to sit here. If they can't get another kill from inside, they probably won't go for this since some of them still have armor, but now that it's just down to Ustilo and they're going to be buying on the next round anyway, we might as well just make an attempt at this and try to get a few exits anyway. Just hugs the corner, waits this one out, and now is going to try to sneak into the open. There's plenty of guns on the ground, too, that he could also try to retrieve, so that's another option for him. Moves in, has the angle to take down Kusta, but Kusta cannot be stopped right now. Another double kill in the round for him, and that'll push CLG up to 12, doubling the scoreline for the Renegades, and leaving them in good strides to start off as we do finally jump into the gun round.
Kusta now peaking at 21 kills, a fantastic performance from him in this first half. His counterpart, Azza, is sitting at 19 himself, but for the most part, Kusta has been consistently winning fights against the Renegades roster. It does look like it's going to be an A-heavy attack right now for CLG as they dedicate themselves to that area. Not a single person even feeling out mid or B. So they're set for a standard A execute with 3 players towards A ramp, ready to throw the smokes, 2 coming in from Palace. And it looks like they're just calling for the timing at this point. Smokes are out. Flashes are in. Here comes the push from CLG. Ricky is the first one into position. Yeah, can't think at all. The take is happening so fast, though. Ethan is going to get that first one before he goes down. Nifty and JKS both combining for frags. Ricky finishing one off, coming in from the Palace. Take over. My brain is totally melted here. I can't think.
Well, now it is down to a 3-on-3 with CLG having slight control. The problem is, though, is that some of their players are low and they're not in the best positions. Specifically, Kusta stuck in a really peculiar corner. Probably gonna. No, he actually gets another kill. But Azar quickly trades that back out, to be expected considering the situation that was there. But still, a huge pickup as now it's kept it even. You still have both the remaining Ts really far back. That's a great smoke from the CTs, though. Does isolate Cutler, keeping him out of the fight for right now, unless he wants to try and risk it. So Ricky needs to try and get himself into the fray, but it does work out for him. Both Ricky and Cutler pick up kills at the end of the round, and that's a big win for CLG, pushing them up to 13, and now forcing Renegades onto yet another eco round.
So I had to expel some gases from my belly mid-sentence. And I'm trying so hard to focus on not doing that into my microphone that I couldn't even form sentences. It's not a good time for me to be talking. But a good round for CLG as they've managed to push themselves to 13. And again, they've done what they've done time and time again in this first map. They've broken the cash flow for Renegades and brought them back down to pistols. So it could be CLG within closing distance of that final 16th round here, as it's just an eco standing before them. And again, marching towards the A bomb site. Or this time, instead of 3 players moving in from ramp, it's going to be 3 from Palace. There's a decent setup here on this A site with 3 players, but they had pushed 2 towards connector a little bit further out. Kusta, my lord. He's going to pick off Nifty. Ethan also getting a kill onto Ustilo. Ricky spams away at Nexa behind the boxes, finishing off what FNS started. Ethan gets one more on the round, and Azza's left back behind the smokes in connector with a CZ75 in his hand, trembling, waiting for the first player from CLG to come around the corner.
Well, now it's going to leave just Azar up and alive here. And like we said before, really nothing that he can do besides just wait out and hope that he can catch a few players close up to him. But CLG are not moving at all. I think Ethan even has an inkling that he's sitting in there too. Ricky just trying to make sure he didn't try to lurk over towards the window room or anything like that. But still moving up to it. Actually, no, he's gonna be quiet for right now. Picks up the first kill, gets the second one as well. And now trying to move out for a little bit more here. Nade gonna miss completely, but he's still stuck in this corner. Nothing else he can do. The 2 kills are nice, but it doesn't really mean that much, as Kus is gonna take him down, and they have plenty of money to rebuy into it. Gun round coming up though, so those rebuys could be a little bit more important if Renegades can clean sweep CLG here and knock them out.
Like we said, if they were gonna do it, it was gonna have to be this first map. The map totally plays to CLG in the second. Overpass is not a strong map for Renegades whatsoever. I think they've played it 4 times in like the last 6 months. So it kind of shows you, if you look at their vetoes, that and Inferno are the 2 most commonly vetoed maps by the team. They need to fire back. They need to find something here, and that might be it. JKS and Ustillo get aggressive on A ramp and completely obliterate the attack from CLG. It's Ricky and Ethan wondering what happened to the rest of their team, as yet again CLG went for a play towards the A bomb site, and this time around Renegades is not going to sit back and try and play defense. They're going to go on the assault themselves. So we've got Ethan in the palace area behind the smoke, and then we've got Ricky who's joining him now. Both players trying to do something with the round. Maybe get a bomb plant out of this if they're lucky.
Yeah, both him and Ethan are going to be trying to push their way outside of Palace, but there's still so many defenses set up here by the Renegades. JK specifically is looking right towards them. He can hear most of this too. He's definitely saw those nades being tossed back out and should know for sure that the second guy is also up there. Yeah, they make quick work of those last 2 players pushing in. 2 of them surviving with 1 HP as well. But no one goes down, and that's exactly what the Renegades needed if they were going to have any chance of able to get back into this game. Now this is where those few deaths and those 2 rounds back matter a little bit more. It is going to cause the breakage of the CLG a little bit quicker. They buy in 1 more time, but after this, they should be fully broken.
But they've got that AWP. Never count them out with the AWP in Kusta's hands. At the same point in time, Nifty was pivotal in the few rounds that Renegades was able to get, as his AWP was often really strong for Renegades. We'll see if that's going to be the case here. He throws the smoke down at bottom of connector, tries to use it to peek underpass, gets spotted on his retreat, gets tagged up as well as he hides back behind it. The shot is off the mark as they get one back behind the boxes to join the other 2 who were already in position. So again, we see mid control from the T side, exactly what we saw from Renegades in that first half. Nifty sitting at the top of connector with his AWP. He's got players in position to try and help him if they go that way. But a nice smoke from CLG to smoke off the top of connector. And that'll give them a little bit more room to work with here in mid. Azza trying to hide behind the edge of the smoke. Ricky spots him. He's not going to be fooled by that. So a man advantage here for CLG as we tick down to the 1-minute mark.
Trying to take a page out of Renegades' book right now as they do go for the mid-control play, something that CLG we haven't seen a whole lot from them just yet. Still aggressive over here at the ramp, though, eliminates Ethan and kills that angle of attack. So now CLG are limited to just middle currently. They also have to go back to get the bomb, so plans are still in the making, but at the moment, in my eyes, leaning a little bit more heavily towards A, but could really swing either direction still, so we kind of have to wait this one out and see how CLG wants to play it. B would be the smarter choice. While they are rotating Nifty over at the moment, it is just Nexa behind bench trying to defend it. He could be very easily boxed out, as you saw right there. And immediately when he peeks out to the left side, Kusta gets the kill. They know the offer's sitting inside of market. They may not know it's specifically the offer just yet, but regardless, Mollies are going to nearly burn him alive. He's got to be careful to make sure this is spread one more time. I think he's good, though. 9 HP. We'll make it out of that Molly alive for right now. And his teammates don't want any piece of that. So Nifty, along with Ustillo and JKS, all going to fall back to save and let CLG go up to map point.
They'll be able to drop guns here for the remaining players if necessary. JKS will have enough cash to throw down an M4. And Ustillo, yeah, he'll be around the same mark as well. He'll be able to drop an M4 for Nexa. So this is a good move here from Renegades. You really can't just throw these guns away. Got to try and fight for overtime at this point, which means they're going to need to win 8 straight rounds, which honestly, based on what we've seen just far from Renegades, I don't know how realistic that is. But we've seen teams struggle to close things out in the past, especially North American teams. Something about that 14th and 15th round, once they hit it, they just melt down and completely fall apart. But CLG has had control for quite some time at this point, really looking solid on the first map. This is their map selection, so this was Renegade's map selection, so this is a great start for CLG right now. You got to be looking at that second map like dessert, because you're realizing that you just finished your main course, and we knew coming into the series that Overpass was not going to be good for Renegades. So this first this first map was really their opportunity, and they start off so weak. That's got to be frustrating if you're Renegades, but here comes the push potentially towards B. We've got so many players from CLG grouped up in this area, but they got to be careful. Nexus already pushed up aggressively, and he may have spotted something. He realizes there could be blood in the water ahead of him.
So CLG sitting here back and kind of giving up on the initial plan to snack up there inside of the back B halls. Now they're going for just your typical mid-control play, as they are going to send 2, potentially 3 through the underpass, depending on the route that FNS takes, and 2 more. Already taking control of top mid. It's pretty light, actually, for the Renegade side of this. They don't put a whole lot of defense focus on it. In fact, they had Azure already all the way back on B, completely ignorant of Cat. So this does let CLG in relatively conflict-free. Connector is going to be a little bit more of a struggle, but this smoke is imperfect, actually. I think Kusta can slightly weigh it. If Usilla peeks in wide enough, and Kusta is checking towards it there, I think there is a small angle where he might be able to spot through it, or at least catch the outline of his opponent, be able to execute. Meantime, though, we did see Ethan get boosted inside of the window, so he's already got full control here, and they are lining up to execute in a second, and they will need to do this soon as time is getting low.
Got to be careful if you're CLG. Can't exhaust that clock too far. Put yourself in a position where can't clear things out on the take. Nice flash coming in as it allows Azza to peek up from catwalk. They look the other direction, expecting a peek from the other side of the map. But just like that, Ethan and Enrique bring it right back around. Nexus in the sight, but down he goes. It's a 4-on-2. This could be the end of the game here, as Ethan has a great backstab play coming in from the vent. However, the vent isn't broken, so we'd have to blow up his spot if he wanted to go for it. He can still hold here and wait for a player to come in from CT spawn, and that's what he'll do. Catches JKS, and just like that, CLG close out the first map with style, as Renegades really couldn't get anything going on their map selection. And now we move over to Overpass, which should be interesting.
It was a decent T-side from the Renegades. It's just they didn't really seem to take advantage on the stuff that was working for them enough, in my opinion. So they only ended up with, like, I think it was 6 rounds, right, that they had at half. So then jumping over to CT side just didn't really carry any of that momentum over. So they end up dropping it to CLG at the end of the day. So that is going to put CLG up 1-0. And as Bach already mentioned, second map is going to be Overpass. That'll be coming up in just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. So stick with us. And as soon as the players are ready, we're bringing that to you.